There's a place at the end of the movie where a thing comes up. It said like 257 days later or 572 days later. And I felt like, oh shit, yeah, that makes sense. That's how long I've probably been watching this movie, because it just drug on.
It's alive! It's alive!
What's up, everybody? It's bshowbrian. Welcome back to my channel at bshowbrian.com. You can hear audio versions of a lot of these videos at bshowpodcast.com. If you like what you see, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's cliche, but it really does help. So thanks for all the new subscribers. On with the video. There's been a viral sensation going around. It was leaked online a while ago and finally hit Shudder. It's called Skinamarink. Now, this movie has gotten a lot of different reactions online. I agree with most of them, good and bad. I wanted to come in here Monday night after I watched the movie and give my immediate gut reaction, because I had a pretty strong gut reaction to it that I'll get to first, but then talk about some of the positives that kind of marinated on me later on in the day or two after I watched the movie. The movie was very slow. If you're not into slow movies, and I mean slow, I mean like I felt like shot with a tranquilizer gun, so slow. I haven't seen a movie develop this slowly since Beyond the Black Rainbow. And Beyond the Black Rainbow was really good. It really took some time to get moving, and it was hard to watch. Skinamarink was a hard watch for me, and for a lot of people I've talked to. And I remember about the 25-minute mark, I remember like out loud saying, for God's sakes, I'm with you guys. I'm taking the ride. Like, let's go, let's do something. And I know it was purposely done, but I think the movie would have been more well-suited if it was like a short, like a 30 or 40-minute featurette. I guess maybe that's what you call it. I don't know. Far be it for me to tell anyone how to make their movie, but I liked the fact that it was abstract, but at times it was so abstract that I just couldn't, not that I couldn't follow, but it was like, what are we doing here? What's going on? Like, what is happening? And not in a sense of like I don't understand what the scene is. It just took forever. It was very monotonous. The kids, when they get up out of bed, they go downstairs, they're watching cartoons and playing with toys, and the weird stuff starts happening, but it's like nothing happens for like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, and then something happens. And then nothing happens for 10 or 15 minutes, and then something happens. Again, I felt like it could have been condensed. I'll be 100% honest and give my gut reaction was I did not like this movie. I am not a fan, and I have zero appetite for watching kids be harmed. And I know it's implied, but like, just my initial reaction was just like, I don't even want to watch this. I wanted to turn it off. As soon as I saw where it was going, I wanted to turn it off, because it's just like at some points you hear the kids say certain things, or something happens and then you hear the kids scream, and it's like it just grosses me out. It grosses me out. I have zero appetite for that, and it really turned me off. Unfortunately, at this point, I was like an hour into the movie, and I figured I've already spent an hour watching this. Let's get through it. And if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out on Shudder and then come back and watch the rest of this. But basically, there's some demonic entity, on the surface of the movie, and we'll talk about surface versus symbolism in a minute. But there's like this demonic entity in the house, and it's always watching, and the camera's always looking at the corners, and it just happens so often that at first, I understand why, right? Because at first you don't know why. At first you don't know why we're looking at the ceiling or at the shadows or down the hallway. There is a sense of foreboding about the dark hallway shots. There was a cool point where one of the kids goes upstairs and they hear a voice or interact with something, and they come back down, and I believe it was in the parents' bedroom. It might have been the mom, or what they thought was the mom. And when the one kid comes back downstairs, the other asks, "What did you see?" And the other kid just says, "Help me move the couch." And then they put the couch in front of the doorway. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. And again, it kept going, but it would drag out. And then finally, when you get into it, one of the kids disappears and some bad shit happens to them. And then toward the end of the movie, this demonic entity takes the kid, and it's graphic, but it's off screen, and they're screaming. And again, I was done. Honestly, I felt dirty after watching it. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Like when I watch movies like that where bad shit happens to kids, it just feels dirty. Like even the beginning of Halloween Ends, when the kid falls down the stairs and you have that shock death. Like when I watched that, I was just like, ugh. Like I understand why it's done. I just hate, I don't like to watch those movies. My gut reaction was I just don't like this. I didn't have fun. Like I watch horror movies to have fun. I know it sounds weird to some people that don't like horror movies, but like in most horror movies, it's like the Hitchcock thing. Like there's a bomb under the table. If the bomb goes off and everybody dies, it's like that kills the suspense. At the end, if the guy shuts the bomb off and they narrowly escape, well, there's like a sense of relief. I like movies that even if they're apocalyptic, like let's say The Thing, at the end you get a sense that maybe, even if the world is doomed, they did all they can, and MacReady is okay, even though he's gonna freeze to death. So this movie just was very bleak. There wasn't enough for me to feel good about, to really enjoy it. And it moved so slow that wasn't much action in between that like really sustained me. It felt like a chore to get through. So that was my gut initial reaction. I wanted to come in and give that reaction and give my take. And then I started, over the next day or two, it kind of crept into my system. And I'm like, all right, let's just get past the uncomfortableness of the movie, I guess, for lack of a better word. And I kind of respected the fact that it's art and that they're pushing in a certain direction and they're supposed to make you feel a certain way. And I said, okay, well, it did that, so it checked that box, right? And then I started thinking about the plot of the movie. At the beginning of the movie, it sounds like the dad's on the phone to someone. And he says someone fell down the steps. And he's not hurt, he's not injured, he just needed stitches or something and he'll be fine. So there's a couple theories going around the internet, and it's what I was thinking about when I was watching the movie, was, all right, let's take it away from this surface level, kids locked in a house and there's no way out and this demonic thing is coming to get them, right? When you take a step back, there's a couple different ways to look at it. One is the kid that fell down the steps had a concussion and he's out of it, he's delirious, and these things that are happening, either he's in a coma and it's like a nightmare coma. One is that he died and he's experiencing this hellish, like in-between reality, this augmented reality type of thing where it's hell or some in-between state. Or if he had the concussion, that he doesn't understand what's going on around him and this is his observation of what's happening. And I think all of those have some merit. I think they all have merit. But what I was thinking of, the way that they drop subtle things in, like the kids not wanting to tell each other what's really going on. When the kid goes upstairs, something obviously happened with what it perceived to be its mother. And the mom even said, your dad and I love you very much, right? And then you hear bones breaking. And then the kid goes back downstairs, and that's when they push the couch in front of the doorway. My takeaway from it was allegory for some sort of child abuse. Like they said the kid falls down the stairs and the person calls and says, oh, no, they're fine. So maybe something happened where the kid maybe was pushed down the stairs or thrown down the stairs. The dad said something about the kid was sleepwalking. Excuses are made. How many times do they, I know a lot of it is in movies, but it's like, oh, what happened? What happened? Why is that bruise on your face? It's like, oh, I fell down. So that's what I started thinking. And then when the kid goes upstairs, the dad's nowhere around. The dad's gone. Something bad happens with the mom. And then the mom says, Dad and I love you very much, before some bad shit happens, right? Again, that abuse cycle of scapegoating or defending, the enabling and the excusing that happens in abusive relationships and situations. So that started falling into place. And then there was this scene where, if you've seen the movie so far, when the girl goes to the basement and then you see something happens and then you see her with no eyes and no mouth. And later on, this demonic character, this evil thing, tells the boy, your sister didn't do what I wanted, or you didn't listen to me, so I took away her eyes and her mouth. Well, in some abusive situations, parents have a way, or enablers have a way, of shutting people up or blinding them to what's going on. especially if they're not listening. In some ways, kids are abused and they can't say what they want to say. They can't tell people. They have no voice. Or they look away, or they ignore things. They have no eyes. I may be reading into it. I don't know, but that's what I took from it. And then after what happened to the daughter, now this happens to the kid. So with the demonic entity in the shadows, in the darkness, always looking at the ceiling, which could be allegory for who's upstairs, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's a really odd movie. I understand it was purposely done in an abstract manner. I did like the look of the movie, although it made it hard to watch sometimes because it was hard to really see what was going on. And maybe that was intentional to get you to pay attention. I really had a hard time hearing a lot of the things. I couldn't tell if you were supposed to hear what things were saying or not. So after a while, I turned on the closed captions, which to me takes away from the visual. I hate closed captions for that reason, because I like to see what's going on. So on one hand, I didn't like it because of just that gut reaction, and I didn't enjoy myself watching the movie. And when I watch those kind of movies, I like to enjoy myself. So that was the negative. The positive was, as far as an art piece, if it is symbolic of abuse or something else or some other story going on, the loss of innocence. I mean, it's called Skinamarink. You know, it's two kids, and it was reminiscent of like things you would have nightmares about or fear as kids. Like if you woke up in the middle of the night and no one's there and you're 4 and you don't know what to do, what do you as a kid know to do? You just grab your toys and you play and you turn on the TV and you wait. Unfortunately, there was a place at the end of the movie where a thing comes up. It said like 257 days later or 572 days later. And I felt like, oh shit, yeah, that makes sense. That's how long I've probably been watching this movie, because it just drug on. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. If you have seen it, let me know what you think down in the comments. Am I wrong? Am I right? What's your theory on the movie, on what's going on? Did you enjoy it? Why not? Why you enjoyed it? All that happy stuff. So I'm bshowbrian. That's my take on Skinamarink. Go check it out. Subscribe to Shudder. Check out everything else on the channel. Horror, wrestling, Star Wars, nerd shit. And go check out Break the Apocalypse podcast. I'm bshowbrian, and I'll see you next time.